Thanks for downloading a 3CR podcast. 3CR is an independent community radio station based in Melbourne, Australia. We need your financial support to keep going. Go to www.3cr.org.au for more information and to donate online. Now stay tuned for your 3CR podcast.
Welcome to another episode of Lost in Science, and it is not just any Lost in Science this week. In fact, those two words, science and week, are going to get even closer this week as we are in Science Week in the most least awkward segue ever. Yes, it is National Science Week is just around the corner or is already here. I can never remember the calendar dates because I get too excited to look at my calendar. That's how amazing this is. Look, I'm going to be honest, every week is Science Week for me, but it's nice to share it with the rest of the world. Isn't that right, Claire and Stu?
Well, at least we can share it with the rest of Australia. It is National Science Week, not International Science Week. I
don't think that...
But when every week is Science Week, then maybe it is International Science Week.
Yeah, I don't know if there's an official International Science Week, but we have National Science Week every year, and it's always in August, and here we are in August, and what a surprise. It's crept up on us again. So we're just going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff going on all around Australia and online as well. I think there's almost as many online events as in-person events this year. So, and some of them are both. So some of the events you can go there if you're nearby, or you can, there's different ways. There's some Facebook Live stuff, and there's some various other streaming options for all these different events that are coming up in Science Week. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can science your week away.
Right. So you're both going to give us a bit of a roundup of what's going around the country and around the interwebs for National Science Week. Is that correct?
That's right. We thought that we would go, as you do, state by state, what things got us excited that are happening for National Science Week, which is, I believe it's the 12th till the 19th of August this year. But, as National Science Week is, it's always National Science couple of weeks. It really probably should be.
It stretches out, yeah.
Should be renamed as that. But just to say up front, wherever you are, definitely jump online to scienceweek.net.au and you can see all of the events and online events that Stu and I are going to be talking about today. And you can check out others because, we're never going to get around to all of them.
Great. And I believe this show also, for those who may be in Melbourne, we will have a little teaser of our own Science Week event, which is the Lost in Science Trivia Night. Is that correct, Claire?
Yeah, I thought I might trial out a couple of Science Week trivia questions on YouTube before I take them to our National Science Week event, which is happening in Melbourne, and also means that our listeners from outside Melbourne can get a little bit of a taste of what the Lost in Science trivia questions are going to be. Maybe you'll feel sad that you missed out. Maybe you'll be like, nah. And I'm also excited to see if you guys get it as well.
Yeah, well, if we can't get it, I mean, I don't know.
We shouldn't be asking the questions?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
All right, then, on with the show.
So I noticed that the theme for schools in this year's National Science Week is glass more than meets the eye. I hope that the copyright lawyers from Hasbro are not going to come down on them like a ton of glass bricks for stealing the... Yeah, so, more than meets the eye. As we mentioned in this story from a couple of weeks ago, eyeglasses are not generally made of glass anymore. But other lenses are. But I kind of thought glass and eyes should be kind of kept apart. It's not something I think of eyes and glass more than meets. You don't want glass to meet your eye. But anyway, there is an activity book available free to primary schools and early high school students, and I'll be honest, anyone else who wants to download it from the National Science Week website. But it's, for teachers and school students, full of sciencey stuff to do, all based safely around glass and its properties, because as we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, it is the International Year of Glass. So that's the kind of Science Week, schools theme for the year.
Such a transparent promotion.
It's a window into their thinking. There's a whole lot of interesting, cool facts about glass and its history in Australia and local glass making, and also a whole lot of information about glass as a sustainable resource as well, and how it, how it can be recycled and all that sort of thing. There's also activities for each age group that can be done at schools. So if you check out the National Science Week website, you can find events as well happening all over the country. So that's a schools thing, but there is events. There's hundreds of Science Week events happening all over the country and in various locations, and a lot of them online, and some of them are even both, as I said in the intro. So if you can't make it to anything in person, you might be able to catch a stream, and some of those are interactive as well, so you can probably ask questions and all that sort of thing.
The best thing I think about having a National Science Week sort of booklet online for teachers is that if you have potentially forgotten about National Science Week, or maybe it's just, term 3's gotten away from you, you can just download it and do something for Science Week. It's all there for you. The lessons are ready to go. And the activities are there, and I think they're sort of targeted specifically to grade levels as well, right?
Yeah, that's right. So there's sort of early primary school aged activities, there's mid-primary school, and there's years 7 to 10 high school stuff as well. So yeah, every activity is there for different age groups of school kids, and like you say, if you've kind of missed the boat on getting organised, you don't have to. You can just jump on there and grab some stuff and get some science happening in the classroom anytime. Just grab the resources from the National Science Week website. But yes, so there are events going on all over the country. I was going to start in Victoria because that's where I am, so I'm just being a little bit selfish. But there's events all over the country. But in Melbourne, like the Melbourne Museum, for example, is bringing a bunch of rarely seen exhibits out of storage to go along with their usual collection. I don't know if you know, they've got the world's most complete Triceratops up there at the moment on display for everyone to see. But the Melbourne Museum has over 17 million items in their collection. So there's not enough room.
It's a lot of items, isn't it? There's not enough room to show them all out at once.
There's just not enough room in that museum. And that's a huge museum, but there's still not enough room to have everything out. So they're pulling out a whole bunch of stuff that's not usually on display. There's, flora and fauna and all sorts of science, chemical stuff and space stuff and all sorts of museum-y goodness in there. If you want something a bit more practical to do, you can get down to a couple of local libraries, so the Sydenham Library and the Sunshine Library, among others, I believe, and learn how to use a microscope. If you've never used a microscope and you're curious about how to use one, you can get to learn how to do that, and they'll show you how to make your own microscope slides, so you can...
Fascinating.
Yeah,
Would you say that's more than meets the eye?
Well, you kind of have to put your eye pretty close to get that to meet your eye. But look, if you're ever interested in microscopy and you've never had a go, look that up and find your nearest opportunity to have a go, because it is fascinating how things look when you blow them up 1,000 times under the microscope. You see a whole lot of things that you will freak you out for the rest of your life, probably. Look, it's not just in Melbourne either. In Malakuta, you can find out all about the science of flight. So in Malakuta, there's a series of practical activities where you get to build flying machines to look at, the science of flying, basically. It looks at lift and thrust and how they work against mass and drag to get things into the air, and you get to build these little things and take them home with you when you're finished.
Why is Malakuta doing that?
Good sea breezes. I don't know. It helps with the lift, I guess.
Oh yeah. There's an airstrip in Malakuta.
Okay.
That's probably something to do with their focus. But yeah, it's happening in Malakuta. It was almost as far away as you can get from Melbourne without leaving the state. So I thought that was a good far-flung one. But it doesn't matter where you are in the state. Look up on the National Science Week website. There'll be something relatively nearby that you can check out. But there's obviously stuff going on in other states as well. Is that right, Claire?
Oh, yeah, that is right. I'm going to shimmy across to South Australia because I found some very cool things happening in South Australia for National Science Week. One of the coolest things is happening in the small but awesome town of Quorn, Quorn, Quorn.
So like the fake meat product.
Like the fake meat product.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it is the Quorn. It's sort of near Port Augusta. Quorn. Big shout out to anyone from Quorn who's listening to us at the moment. Now, this is the Quorn Constellation. It's a trail of stories in light across regional South Australia, and it's going to be in Quorn from the 1st until the 31st of August. And, you know, anyone in town, families, whoever you are, you get to experience artistic and visionary alternative futures in a science-themed world first. So there'll be 5 iconic Australian landmarks that transform each sunset in August, and they're transformed by an organisation called, get this, I love it, Illuminat, which is great. Not Illuminati, Illuminat, transformed into vibrant regional projections and become a sort of connected tour of stories in light. So they're collaborating with regional artists and animators to combine local knowledge, ideas, and an epic sort of science fiction play that will sort of have all this programmed content and a special transmission from the future in the first half hour. So I love that idea. Bringing science and art together, and also, some possible speculative futures in Quorn.
Wow. I'd be worried about that transmission for the future. It could be pretty... I mean, the way things are going, you know, I'm not feeling good about that.
Well, you'll have to get over to Quorn and see what it is, okay. Chris.
It depends how far in the future. I mean, it might just be, hey, did anyone see where I put my car keys? Or...
That's right. You never know how far in the future these transmissions are going to be, do you?
No.
The car keys are incredibly important. And then just down the road in Port Augusta, there is an exhibition at Yada Pertley Art Gallery in Port Augusta. So this is all about sort of science and art and culture as well. And it's a space, this fibre space is a space for artists across South Australia who meet several times a year to encourage each other. And they sort of have a bunch of different exhibits and different collections all around tactility, convoluted layers, and chronesthesia, which is journeys of the mind, past, present, and future. So, love that. That's
the future again.
The future again, yeah. All throughout the Quorn and Port Augusta region, they are combining science and art for National Science Week. There's a lot happening in South Australia though, so yeah, definitely head over to scienceweek.net.au to see what's happening in more bigger regions like Adelaide as well.
It's funny, you mentioned the meeting of art and science. In Tasmania, They have the Beaker Street Festival. That's Beaker, Beaker, which is an annual event.
Oh, yeah, that's a very popular one.
Yeah, and that's kind of all over the place. It's not really in any one location. It's kind of all over the joint. There's events from the Beaker Street Festival, which is exploring the connection between art and science. But there's so many Beaker Street events, it's worth having a look directly on the Science Week website. So if you go to nationalscienceweek.net.au.
No, just scienceweek.net.au. Yeah.
Scienceweek.net.au. They've got all the Beaker Street stuff in Tassie. There's also in Tasmania. There's the Big Day of Science at the Queen Victoria Museum in Invermay, which is near Launceston, where you can try your hand at glass making. So there's a whole activity about.
Very cool.
Yeah, making your own glass objet that you can take home. But if your idea of science is maybe more figuring out how to make things taste more delicious in the kitchen, you could don your chef's cap and head to the council chambers in Latrobe, which is near Devonport in Tasmania, to find out all about the science of chocolate making. And if ever there was an excuse to eat chocolate, I think finding out about the science of chocolate making is that excuse that you need. Not that you really need an excuse to eat chocolate.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But hey, I'm just interested in the science. It's all in the name of science. Finding out the science of chocolate, and there is a lot of science in it. You know, there's all about the melting points of various things and combining them in such a way.
Tempering.
Tempering is fascinating. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and I feel very deeply that if you're going to be immersed in science, you may as well be eating chocolate at the same time.
You may as well be dipped in chocolate while you're doing it.
I didn't say dipped in chocolate.
Immersed in science, immersed in chocolate. What's the difference?
That's right.
But so that's all happening in Tassie. But you know, check out the website. There's so many events in Tassie. I could barely squeeze them together.
Yeah,
to be honest,
Tassie is there's always a lot happening in Tassie.
You're listening to Lost in Science, where Claire and Stu are giving a rundown of National Science Week events around the country and online.
I'm going to skip across to Western Australia now because, and these are two events that are close to your heart, Stu. They are events specifically around International Year of Glass, and I know how you love International Year of Glass. So
I love International Years of anything, to be honest.
You do, yeah. You do. I wasn't on board with International Year of Glass, but I love to see how people are the different directions people are taking it. And in Girraween in Western Australia, around Perth, there's a preserving and pickling with glass jars. So the science of preserving and pickling with Kath Moller. So she's going to be sharing her expertise. And, you know, looking at how you can preserve food safely all year round. So there's a lot of microbiology in this as well. And how you can just use sort of your normal kitchen equipment to help preserve food. And you can use all those pre-loved glass jars. So a little bit of recycling there happening as well. And then the other one that's got me excited is petrology in the pub. Petrology? Anyone know what petrology means?
It would be the study of petrol. No.
I don't know. We're going to have to look that one up.
It'd be the study of
Rocks.
Earth, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Earth?
Petro, as in petrichor and all those things.
Yeah. Soil?
Yeah.
Anyway, love it anyway. Petrology in the pub. Geological origins of glass. So the glass that holds our favourite cold fizzy liquids is actually a rapidly cooled molten silica. So grab a drink chilled in molten silica and join us for an immersive space-themed evening where where stellar petrologists are going to discuss natural geological processes that produce volcanic glasses like obsidian and Pele's hair, which is those amazing stretched glass fragments that you get out of volcanoes as well. So I love that idea of drink out of some glass and then learn about glass. You know, I mean, it's just like the chocolate. If you can bring it back to having a glass of beer, then you're going to get more people involved.
Well, on that theme of drinking while you learn science, in Queensland there is a sort of relaxing Epicurean science experience in Emerald, which is inland from Rockhampton. You can enjoy wine and cheese while a local artist teaches you how to grind and repurpose glass bottles and containers. So you're doing your own recycling, but you're not just pickling. You're actually altering the glass bottles to be, you know, artistically
brilliant.
A more artistic way of recycling than just chucking it in the bin and smashing it up and turning it into more bottles and jars. You're actually changing the bottles and jars and she's got different ways of doing that. So that event, because of the wine, that event is adults only, but there are actually all ages sessions running on other days which don't include the wine. So if you are near Emerald, you can maybe look up one of the wine inclusive sessions or one of the wine exclusive sessions, depending on your age. And or, you know, north of Cairns, if you're up that way, you can find out about what plants the local tropical butterfly species need to grow up big and spectacular up in Kuranda. So entomologists from the Australian Butterfly Sanctuary are putting on events which will explain all about what plants different butterflies feed on and how they need to be looked after to keep the plants alive, which keeps the butterfly or keeps the caterpillars alive that then turn into these spectacular tropical butterflies, which are pretty amazing. If you can't make the trip to Cairns to see them in person, that event is going live on Facebook, so you can actually look it up and tune in from wherever you might be to find out about that. Or you could set your faces to stunned at the Redland Museum, where Ruben Meerman is explaining how lasers work, and he's putting on an amazing demonstration of how cool lasers are with an amazing laser light display, which is, he's also explaining optics and photonics and all these physics concepts as well, but also you get an amazingly cool laser light show thrown in as well at the Redland Museum.
Wow. Fun fact, I went to school with Ruben Meerman.
He's the surfing scientist.
Yeah.
So,
Did you?
There you go. Did you go to uni with him?
No.
Just high school.
I think he went to different unis, yeah.
Well, there you go. So that's happening in Queensland. But yeah, again, so many events happening in Queensland. Look up the National Science Week. Look up the scienceweek.net.au website for more details of where these things are and what else is going on that might be near you.
Yeah, and there's don't think just because you're in Northern Territory you're going to miss out. There's a lot happening in Northern Territory. In Darwin, for example, everyone in Darwin, head on down to the Museum and Art Gallery of the Northern Territory. You can meet some of Australia's megafauna and get an introduction by a couple of scientists who know that those megafauna very well. So Dr. Adam Yates and Dr. Sam Arman, who are paleontologists, and they will take you through a walk through time. You will head on into a prehistoric picnic experience, and you'll see there's a full skeleton. Speaking of full skeletons, it's not a triceratops, but it is everybody's favorite bird, the thunderbird. The giant thunderbird, Dromornis statoni, to be, to their parents. And you can touch fossils and learn how they're excavated. learn all about the excavation and the fossil sites happening in and around the Northern Territory and Alice Springs as well. So that's a fantastic family option. And then if you're a little bit further out on Elcho Island, I found this very cool event on Elcho Island. So it is animals hiding around Gallowin-Coo, and they're taking the theme of glass more than meets the eye and inspired them to deliver a series of activities on country that support student learning of local fauna that are often cryptic, nocturnal, or just a little bit shy. So the local Guma Mafakal Rangers are going to support daily field trips for classes across schools on Elcho Island, and they'll visit different cultural homelands that will provide habitats for a range of different local and feral species. And then the students will set cameras and do some citizen science while they're out there. So probably not something for the general public to attend, but certainly something I was like, wow, that is super cool. I wish I could have done that when I was at school.
So in, lots of stuff going on in the Northern Territory. In the other territory, the ACT, there's so much science going on, but actually in the ACT this year, they're rolling out science to all the shopping centres all throughout the Australian Capital Territory. So if you look on the scienceweek.net.au website, you'll find that all of the big shopping centres throughout the suburbs of Canberra, there is science stuff going on there, which is being rolled out throughout the ACT. The other thing that I thought was really cool, Canberra's known as the bush capital. If you want to know more about the Indigenous flora and fauna surrounding Canberra, you can head to Walks and Talks at the Australian National Botanic Gardens to learn about orchids or reptiles and other amazing wildlife right on the doorstep of our national capital, if you are interested in that sort of thing. And that just leaves, I guess, New South Wales.
They don't like going last, New South Wales,
Well,
but
that's why they've called themselves the premier state. They've always got to be first. Well, we made them last. Well, there you go.
We made them last, but that's not because there's not much happening. There's a lot happening in New South Wales. They always punch, well, I wouldn't say above their weight because, but anyway, there's a lot happening. So I just wanted to pay homage to one of the great Science Week traditions, which is the Sydney Science Festival, which it will be happening in and around Ultimo and at the Powerhouse Museum all throughout National Science Week from August 12 to 20. There's so much happening there. There's citizen science. There's science up late for adults. There's talks by a whole range of different incredible researchers and scientists, all being a lot being moderated by Nate Byrne, our favourite weather man, and meteorologist and science communicator, of course. Some really fascinating talks about how blue carbon ecosystems can capture carbon dioxide 30 to 50 times faster than terrestrial forests can. And it wouldn't be a Science Week event without a NASA astronaut. And they're bringing a NASA astronaut over. So we have Dr. Mary Ellen Webber, who was one of the youngest ever astronauts and who's logged about 450 space hours as a veteran of 2 space flights. So definitely check out all of the things that are happening in and around Sydney. And there's some very cool things happening in Wollongong and Newcastle and Wagga that I don't even have time to touch on.
Oh, well, thank you both for this excellent roundup. And as you have said quite a few times, you can find out more by heading to the website scienceweek.net.au. But that's not all, I believe, because Lost in Science has its very own Science Week event, which is taking place on Monday, the 15th of August at the Carringbush Hotel in
Abbotsford.
What sort of is that?
Abbotsford.
Abbotsford. It is the return of our favourite yearly event, the Trivia Night. And Claire, I believe you've got something special planned for us.
Well, I do. I want to give our listeners out there a bit of a taste of what Lost in Science trivia sounds like, at least the questions that I write. / I just want to see where you're both at with, whether you know the answers to my questions. Because I'm not going to be able to ask you on the night because you're going to have the answers. So here we go. I'm going to give you some questions, and I want you to know. I want you to tell me if you know the answer. Okay?
Are we competing against each other? Is this?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's trivia. There's no.
So we'll just raise our hand if we know the answer.
Yeah. Okay. Raise your hand if you know the answer.
There's no I in trivia.
It's only a few questions.
Aye.
It's only a few questions. Okay, so the first one, which is one of my favourite questions for Lost in Science trivia, it's always, ologies that I don't know. And we had a petrology before, which none of us knew, so maybe that'll go to Lost in Science trivia. But this one is, what is areology the study of?
Can you spell that for us?
Areology. Areology. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. I don't think either of you know, do you?
Is it areas?
It is not areas, Chris,
Okay.
but good try. Stu, do you know?
I was going to say, is it
guess?
areas as well? So I've got nothing. Good thing we're not on the
reckon
same
it's-
trivia team.
I don't lose points for getting it wrong, yeah.
Okay. It is the study of Mars. So while Mars was a Roman god of war, and he gave his name to the planet, his Greek counterpart is Ares, and he donates his name to the scientific study of the red planet.
So are you saying here that the study of Venus would be Aphroditeology?
I don't know, but that is pretty cool if it is.
Yeah.
It is very, very cool. And then another one of my favourite ology questions is, what is melissopaleontology the study of? Melissopaleontology.
Is it the study of old honey?
Ooh! Chris, do you have a guess?
No, I was thinking of Sarah Palin and maybe, one of her relatives.
Or is it the study of amber?
It's the study of honey.
Yeah, right.
It's the study
well
of
done,
honey.
Stu.
Yeah.
I knew Melissa was Greek for honey, so.
Yeah, and the European bee is Apis mellifera.
Yeah.
So, you've got a bit of that in there. There you go. Well done, Stu. Okay, you get 1 point. And I'm so very sorry, Chris, but
That's right.
you get 0. I think we can leave it there.
Is that it?
Sure.
I win.
That's it.
I win. Yeah.
Stu wins trivia. Excellent. Well, I might not be turning up to trivia now as a result of that outcome, but look, the rest of you can have a good time. So come along if you feel so inclined, or maybe you'll be lucky enough that Claire will read out some questions on a future show and baffle us all.
Don't forget, it is also a fundraiser, so you are helping keep Lost in Science on the air as well, and 3CR as well. So please do come along if you are free on Monday the 15th of August.
And that's it for another episode of Lost in Science. Lost in Science is recorded for 3CR in Melbourne on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and it airs across Australia on the Community Radio Network with the support of the Community Broadcasting Foundation. We would love you to get in touch with us. You can email us at lostinsci@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook, we're Lost in Science on 3CR, or on Twitter, where we're at Lost in Science 1. You can find us on your favourite podcast app, where if you get the chance, please give us a good rating and review, as that will raise us up in the search rankings so other people can find the science. Or you can listen to us however you listen to us now, where at the same time every week, Claire, Stu and Chris get
Lost in Science!
Thanks for listening to a 3CR podcast. 3CR is an independent community radio station based in Melbourne, Australia. We need your financial support to keep going. Go to www.3cr.org.au for more information and to donate online.